Welcome to my week 7 picks, guys. I had a solid week last week. I went 13. I think I lost like just 2. Obviously, that Chargers Broncos one, and I think I missed one more. I forget which one it was, but yeah, I'm proud of the week I had, man. Honestly, I had a pretty solid week. I hope I can keep it going. Um, but let's dive into some of these matchups real quick because these are some tough ones, man. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, this is just like my picks as of now. I will definitely have a change of heart on at least one of these. I mean, you know what I always say? I like to go with my first gut nowadays, but honestly, I feel like I'm gonna have a change of heart. So these are just as of now. I'll tell you who I have winning. So let's get into it, man. Let's start off with Thursday Night Football. We got the Denver Broncos traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Let's look at Denver, man. So they're in a tough spot heading into week 7. I mean, they haven't really found any consistency on offense. Bo Nix hasn't really been able to generate much momentum. Their defense has been weakened by injuries, unfortunately. I think that this is an opportunity for them to, pressure the quarterback. I mean, the Saints team has allowed 19 quarterback hits and 6 sacks in their last 2 games. And Spencer Rattler, he had a pretty rattled start. No pun intended, but they're going to need better protection on that line. If New Orleans is going to win this one, they're going to have to protect. And I think the Saints' offensive line issues, that could allow Denver to keep it close. And Sean Payton's familiarity with the Saints, that's a big edge that Denver has. But I think it's going to come down to whether Spencer Rattler can avoid collapsing under the pressure. He did show a brief stint of promise last week against the Bucs. They did come back a little bit at down 20-0, but I'm going to pick the Saints to win this one. It's kind of a home team advantage here, and I think that Denver's kind of struggling, and they're still looking for an identity as well. I mean, they lost to the Chargers last week pretty badly. I mean, yeah, they did score a little bit to keep it close, but they got like absolutely throttled in the first half. Both these teams kind of had similar games. Just the Saints one was obviously way higher scoring, but give me the Saints in this one over the Broncos. Moving to the Sunday set of games, we got the London matchup. We got the New England Patriots taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Patriots are coming off a loss to the Houston Texans. They're 1-5 on the season. The Jags, who they play? Yeah, they played the Bears. And Trevor Lawrence did not look good at all. Their defense did not look good at all. I mean, Caleb Williams was finding his rhythm all over the place. Against this Patriots team, I mean, you can always count. You could never count out the Brady Belichick Patriots. Don't get me wrong. You can count these ones out immediately because I think Trevor Lawrence is due for a bounce back. I just don't see him dropping this game. Honestly, New England should just tank at this point. I mean, Drake May look good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they should tank like intentionally lose every single game, but I think like they should be looking ahead for next year. I mean, Drake May, he threw. I think he had 2 touchdowns, I believe, and then he had 3 turnovers, unfortunately. So I think that's a rough start for him, but he could definitely show some promise as well. But right now, I think the Patriots they should be focusing more on next year because I mean, just see what you have in Drake May, but we'll just see what happens. But I'm gonna go with the Jags on this one to get the win over the Patriots because I just feel like they're kind of due here. So yeah, give me the Jags. Moving to the 1 p.m. slate of games, guys, we got the Detroit Lions taking on the Minnesota Vikings. So the Lions are entering Week 7 on a complete hot streak. I mean, they beat the Cowboys 47-9. I mean, Jared Goff, he's been playing at an elite level. The team shows complete balance on both offense and defense. Even though, unfortunately, they did lose Aiden Hutchinson on that defense, their defense has still been able to create turnovers. They've been able to disrupt the quarterback. But that is a big loss for them on that defense, and that just sucks for them. I mean, that injury was nasty to watch. But the Vikings, they're coming off their bye week, so they're well rested to go against their division rival who's chasing them in the standings. I think Minnesota's defense is going to have to slow down the Detroit's high-powered attack. They have shown no signs of slowing down, but neither have the Vikings. So this is honestly going to be a really good game, guys. Sam Darnold, he's been thriving with the clean pocket that he's had. I think Minnesota's defense has to step up, and I think they will. I'm going to pick the Vikings to actually get the win here over the Lions. I think they keep it going. I mean, they're 5-0 right now. I don't see... Yeah, obviously, their last time they started off 5-0, they completely choked in 2016. I mean, they lost... What did they lose? Like 2 straight, whatever? I don't know. After that, yeah, they kind of fell off after that. But I think this is a different Vikings team. Obviously, I mean, it's been like 8 years, so I think that this is an opportunity for them to kind of make their mark. And I think Sam Darnold is playing at an incredible level, and I think he's going to keep it going. So give me the Vikings here over the Lions. Next up, we got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Buffalo Bills. The Titans are in trouble heading into Week 7, man. A disappointing loss of the Colts. Will Levis threw for under 100 yards. He made a lot of costly mistakes. He is not having a good year at all. I mean, their offense looks completely one-dimensional. In the fourth quarter especially. I mean, the Bills, on the other hand, they're coming off a win over the Jets last night. That was a crazy game. Josh Allen and the defense, they got their shit together. And Buffalo's defense, man, they continue to force turnovers. And I think if they're just going to easily capitalize on Will Levis's poor decision-making. And Buffalo's offense has the capability to struggle at times, but I think that they should have enough firepower to exploit a Titans defense that is not very good, and they've not been able to put up consistent points to match that. And all you Titans fans that were saying that you guys are a sleeper in the comments on my picks video, I don't want to say anything too much, but look at you now. You can talk about my opinions about like your team all you want. You can defend your team and all, but calling you guys a sleeper team and then seeing where you are at now, I mean, kind of shows who was right and who wasn't. But Buffalo's defense, I mean, they continue to force turnovers, and this is going to actually be my lock of the week. I'm picking the Bills over the Titans to easily. The Bills will easily trounce them, in my opinion. I just don't see the Titans keeping up. But, crazy things have happened before any given Sunday. But, yeah, for now, the Bills are my lock. Next up, we got the Miami Dolphins taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Dolphins are coming off their bye week, and they're facing a Colts team that's, they've squeaked by the Titans in Week 6, obviously. I mean, those are tough games. It's a divisional game. Miami is going to lean heavily on their rushing attack. Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane. I'm so bad at that. And, I think Tyler Huntley's starting at quarterback. So the Dolphins' offensive success is going to hinge on how well they establish the run. The Colts have had 120 rushing yards in 5 of their last 6 games. I think that Indy, they got a solid performance from Joe Flacco as well. If Anthony Richardson returns, I think it's going to add another extra dynamic to that, Colts offense. And, the Colts' ability to generate pressure, I think if it stops them leading games, I think it's going to be crucial for this matchup. So if they can force the Dolphins to rely on their young quarterback, they should have no problem here. And I think that's what they're going to do. And I think that they get not an easy win, but I think they get a convincing win here over the Dolphins. I think that it's going to be obviously 2 young quarterbacks, and we'll see who comes out on top. But I'm excited to see Anthony Richardson return and see what he can do. So I'm going to take the Colts over the Dolphins. Next up, we got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Atlanta Falcons. They're both looking to exploit their weaknesses in the run game. I mean, Seattle's Week 6 loss to the 49ers, they had no answer for the run there. And I know Jordan Mason got injured, but they had no answer for the run. Geno Smith, he had trouble moving the ball. He had 2 picks, 2 really bad interceptions. And the Falcons, on the other hand, I mean, they dominated on the ground, with Bijan Robinson against the Carolina Panthers. And I think him and Tyler Algier, I'm so bad at names, guys. I'm sorry. But they combined for over 200 rushing yards. And their offensive line has not provided any protection for Geno Smith, that being the Seahawks. And I think that's going to be a really frustrating outing here. I think if Atlanta continues to control the game with the rushing, they should be able to wear down on Seattle's ineffective rushing defense. And honestly, I can see this one being high scoring. I can see Geno Smith maybe having a bounce back game, but right now he just doesn't seem like the answer right now, especially in crunch time. I think the Falcons here get a convincing win. They win 31-20. I think it's going to be a solid game, and then the Atlanta kind of pulls away in the fourth. You kind of see both quarterbacks, how they rise. Kirk Cousins, I think, is going to do, a good amount for the team, and he's been playing well, man. So he played well against the Bucs. He threw 509 yards this season. So I'm going to take the Falcons here. Next up, we got the Houston Texans at the Green Bay Packers. This is one of the 2 of the most exciting quarterbacks in the league, young quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love. The Texans are coming off a win over the Patriots. Joe Mixon's return has sparked their offense. Will Anderson Jr., I mean, he wreaked its absolute havoc on that Patriots offense. I mean, he had 3 sacks. Stroud has been amazing this season, and his confidence is only going to continue to grow. I think Houston's offense is incredibly dangerous, and I think that Green Bay, on the other hand, Jordan Love distributed the ball to 9 different receivers, so that's a big plus for them. I think both teams are capable of putting up points, man, honestly. I think that the Texans, they have a little bit of an edge just because Will Anderson Jr., him reading that defense, I think it's going to be chaos for Jordan Love. But I think both teams are going to put up points in the end. But I think C.J. Stroud and the Texans pull away with a win in Lambeau. I think it's going to be a tough one. I think both quarterbacks are going to play really well. But I have a little bit more confidence in C.J. Stroud than I do Jordan Love. And, I want to see more from Jordan Love, obviously. But, he's been great to start outside of that injury. He's had a pretty good season, man. So you got to give him a lot of credit, man. Packers fans should be, just really happy with how, he's playing. And, especially sitting behind Aaron Rodgers was tough. But you got to give the man a lot of credit. Just his discipline and just the way he's going about his business, I think that's just something that you got to tip your hat to Jordan Love, man. So kudos to him. He's playing, well. But I think C.J. Stroud, yeah, Buckeye, it's a part of me is that Buckeye wants to pick him and all that. But, I really wanted to pick the Packers as well. They're a good team as well. So I'm actually going to pick the Houston Texans to pull off a road win over the Packers. Next up, we got my game, guys. We got the Battle of Ohio. We got the Cleveland Browns hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. So we look at the Bengals, man. This is a pivotal game for both these teams. As a Bengals fan, this is one that I'm going to watch, obviously, the most. We finally broke through with a win over the Giants in Week 6. It was not pretty by any stretch. Joe Burrow, he wasn't at his complete best, but he had a 47-yard touchdown. Chase Brown had a 30-yard touchdown to ice the game. That proved to be enough. The Bengals' defense was one of the worst in the league so far, and they stepped up, against an offense that obviously is not on the tier that the opponents in previous weeks had. Getting big plays from Trey Hendrickson, getting key stops on fourth down, 2 big stops on fourth down. But they're gonna need to continue this resurgence, man, against the Browns team. They look completely lost on offense, man. Deshaun Watson, he's been struggling all season. Not that I'm complaining, but he threw for under 200 yards against the Eagles last week in Week 6, and the Browns offense has scored 1 touchdown in 20 in their last 29 drives. Cleveland's defense, they did do well in Week 6. They had that blocked field goal by Myles Garrett. The Bengals can limit their mistakes, and hopefully Burrow can find some rhythm. I think that the Bengals can take advantage of Deshaun Watson's inefficiency, and you can only hope that, with them trading Amari Cooper now to the Bills, that Jerry Jeudy doesn't go off. But that is a big loss for them because he had an outstanding year last year. This is a must-win for both these teams, to be honest with you, man. I think that this is going to be obviously, whoever loses this game is sole possession for last, especially the Browns. They'd be 2 games behind us. And if we drop this game, then we'd be, tied with them. And then we'd obviously have the tie, or I think they'd have the tiebreaker over since they beat us. But you can expect a similar game to last week for the Bengals, man. This is like a tough, grinded-out AFC North battle. And also, keep in mind, we haven't won in Cleveland since 2017. I think that, and we've won 2 of the last 3, don't get me wrong. Week 18, obviously, they rested their starters, but we also didn't have Joe Burrow. But, it's going to be a tough one. Cincinnati's offensive weapons, I think they have to step up. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, they all got to find some sort of rhythm. And that they didn't last week. Jamar Chase is going to have to, do his thing. Chase Brown, Zach Moss is going to have to improve. Especially they both had, key fumbles. Chase Brown got saved by that out-of-bounds penalty. But, Cleveland's defense, man, the Bengals, they've been the Bengals' kryptonite. So I hope that it doesn't happen. So with caution, guys, I'm going to go with our guys. I'm going to pick the Bengals to win. I think that right now, the Browns just look lost on offense and defense. So I can only hope that our offensive weapons are too much for them to handle. And I think that we go into Cleveland and we can finally snap the drought of 7 straight victories or 7 straight losses to them in Cleveland. Yeah, because we haven't won there in quite a bit. So give me the Bengals here in the Battle of Ohio against the Cleveland Browns. And next up, guys, we got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the New York Giants. So we look at the Eagles, man, a gritty win against the Browns. Just talked about that. A.J. Brown had late-game heroics. The defense sacked Deshaun Watson 5 times. Jalen Hurts is looking a lot more comfortable now that, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, they're back to full strength. Eagles' offensive line is continuing to show that they are finding their groove without Jason Kelce. We're kind of struggling early on. That led to the, some of the tough losses that they had, against the Falcons, for example. They had some tough breaks on the offensive line, but they seem to be finding a rhythm. Then you look at the Giants, man. They fell to the Bengals in Week 6. They struggled to convert on fourth down twice, but they did convert a few. Brian Daboll had some aggressive play calling, so you got to give him some credit. But without Malik Neighbors, their offense just hasn't been able to generate some big plays. Their defense, they were able to get them some opportunities, but the offense just didn't take advantage of it. I mean, they held the Bengals offense in check. But if the Malik Neighbors is back here, and hopefully, Singletary is back, and hopefully their linebacker Thibodeau is back, I think that they can actually contain Hurts and the Giants. I mean, obviously it's a division rival, so you can only see, maybe Philly comes out on top. But Philly, they look good. I mean, Jalen Hurts looks a lot more comfortable. But guys, honestly, I'll tell you what the key difference for me is. The Giants' defense is really, really good. It's a division rival. They're hopefully going to get their two players back. So I reserve the right to change my pick because, I mean, that goes for every game here. The picks are fluid. But right now, the Giants are my upset of the week. Give me New York here. I think that they obviously host Philly, and I think they grind out a gritty win. Kind of a similar game to last year, except I think they're going to come out on top. I mean, I think that defense can definitely force Jalen Hurts into tough situations and kind of apply a little bit more pressure on that Eagles offensive line. So I'm actually going to go with the Giants as my upset of the week over the Eagles. Next up, we go to LA. We got the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Rams. So the Raiders have been their absolute worst enemy this year. I mean, week 6 was no exceptions. They were undone by turnovers, the refs, a block punt by I forgot who when the Steelers blocked their punt, but their defense could not stop Najee Harris one bit. And then you look at the other side, the Rams are coming off their bye week. That could give them some rest, and hopefully they come out firing. But with Cooper Kupp possibly returning, Matthew Stafford, he's going to have his enormous weapon back. I think that's going to be a trouble for that Raiders defense that has given up a lot of big plays. And Kyron Williams, I don't know Puka Nakua's status. I didn't really look into it. I don't follow the Rams like that, obviously, but I don't know how he's doing, but Kyron Williams is doing well on the running game as well, man. So I think it's going to be enough to wear down Las Vegas. So I'm actually picking the Rams here to pull off the win. And I think they should have no problem with it. Aiden O'Connell, I mean, we'll see how he does. But, yeah, I don't see a lot from the Raiders right now. I'm going to just roll with LA here. Next up, we got the Carolina Panthers at the Washington Commanders. So the Panthers have been in absolute free fall. Andy Dalton had 2 late game picks. Carolina has completely struggled to finish some games. Their offense has not found any consistency one bit, with or without Bryce Young. It doesn't matter. I mean, the Commanders, on the other hand, they lost to the Ravens, yes, but they went toe-to-toe. I mean, Jaden Daniels was shining under center. I mean, he's been playing at an MVP elite level. His ability to make some plays in the passing game, I think he should be able to exploit that Panthers defense that has been giving up huge numbers. I think Washington has the easy edge here. Their improved passing attack, the Panthers cannot finish games. Give me the Washington Commanders to win at home over the Panthers. I think that they're obviously going to bounce back. They're a little bit pissed off, that they almost beat Baltimore, just didn't come out on top. And I think the Panthers are a good opponent for them to take it out on. I mean, the Panthers, they've been struggling this year. It's going to be important for the Panthers to get their running game involved and just try to keep the Washington defense on your toes. But I think that offense for the Washington Commanders is going to be just too lethal for that Panthers defense to handle. So give me the Commanders here over the Panthers. Next up, we got a Super Bowl 58 rematch. We got the Kansas City Chiefs at the San Francisco 49ers. So we look at the 49ers, man. They're coming off a dominant win over the Seahawks. Brock Purdy spread the ball around an incredible amount, and they picked off Geno Smith twice. And, I think that, San Francisco's balanced attack, they got both sides, even without Christian McCaffrey. I mean, they've showed that they can both move the ball effectively. I think that obviously the Chiefs defense, they're obviously well rested coming off their bye. Their offense as well. Look for Patrick Mahomes to just target Travis Kelce. Rashid Rice is out for the season, obviously. I think it's going to be important for them to carry the load. And, I think that right now, the 49ers don't look like a true contender. I know the Chiefs are undefeated, but I just feel like the Chiefs are a lot more rested. They're at home. They always seem to play well against the 49ers, regular season, Super Bowl, whatever. I mean, they always seem to, they have their number. And, you kind of hope that if you're the Chiefs, you hope that Travis Kelce finds his groove back. But right now, guys, I gotta go. I gotta go Kansas City. I think they're gonna keep the undefeated streak going. I think that they're a lot more rested. Maybe they figured some things out. I don't know, but I think that Kansas City stays undefeated. They improved to 6-0 and hand the 49ers yet another loss, and it's gonna be tough for the 49ers. I mean, they want to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the 49ers just come out viciously angry because of last year. I would if I was them, but right now I got to go Kansas City. I mean, I might look. I reserve the right to change these picks because these are some tough ones. But usually I have a good idea when I make these. But give me the Chiefs here over the Niners in a really good game. I think this is honestly I would say this is probably my game of the week just because it's like any Super Bowl rematch where two teams are like still competing the next year. Or they're not completely out of it, I feel like that automatically has to be game of the week. So I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the 49ers again. Sunday Night Football. We got the New York Jets at the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we look at the Jets, man. They almost pulled off an upset. They just could not pull away. I mean, this is Greg Zuerlein, he missed 2 crucial kicks. Aaron Rodgers threw for 296. Their defensive struggles in the red zone. I mean, their offensive struggles in the red zone as well. I mean, it was too costly for them. I mean, the Jets defense, they kept the game close. The offense just hasn't been able to finish some drives consistently, man. So that's a huge concern for them, in this game especially. I mean, good news for the Jets though. They just traded for Devontae Adams. So you got Rodgers and Adams connection back. Hopefully he's on the field Sunday, and they could definitely warm up, and get it going, get that offense hot, but. The Jets defense is also very good, but if you look at the Steelers, man, they controlled their Week 6 matchup on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, their defense just completely carried the game. Justin Fields didn't have a great game, but their defense and then obviously the refs kind of helped them a little bit. But they forced 3 turnovers, pretty solid rushing attack, obviously with Najee Harris, and T.J. Watt just continues to prove why he is the Defensive Player of the Year. That defense is going to try to make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable. I think this is going to be a really good game, man. And then Russ is also starting this week. I just found out from this morning or something. But, I think that, it's a rematch of like a couple playoff battles as well. I mean, Rodgers against Russ. But I think if Pittsburgh controls the pace of the game with their running game, I think it could be the difference here. I think the Jets, I mean, with their interim coach, it's hard to see them it's just, you can always say where they go from where. But I just don't know. I mean, that's Steelers' offense is not, I wouldn't say they're anemic, but they're not very good. They haven't been good for a while. I think TJ Watt could generate some pressure on Rodgers, especially against that Jets sus O-line. But honestly, guys, I'm going to go with the Jets here. I think that they are just due for a bounce back. I think that Rodgers-Adams chemistry is still going to be, just as strong, if not stronger. I'm going to roll with the Jets here to pull off the win on the road. Mike Tomlin has spewed a lot of nonsense I've heard. I shot Deshaun. I'm not going to talk about it on here, but Deshaun Elliott posted something super weird on Instagram about Mike Tomlin, but you guys can go check that out. But, I think the Jets, they just have what it takes to, beat the Steelers. And I think that the Steelers are definitely vulnerable, even at 4-2. Their defense, don't get me wrong, is amazing. I mean, TJ Watt is just amazing. But, I think Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, they're going to have to take advantage of a weak Steelers secondary. And I think that they will, honestly. Because at the end of the day, I think that the Jets, Sauce Gardner's also going to have to do his thing. If George Pickens is trying, there's no reason why he's not, all world. And same with Calvin Austin. He's a fast dude. So it's going to be a big test for both these defenses. And, we'll just see what happens. But right now, I'm going New York here over Pittsburgh. Moving on to the Monday night slate, guys, we have 2 games. We got the Baltimore Ravens at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Ravens have looked like one of the best teams in the NFL over the last few weeks, bouncing back from that 0-2 start. In Week 6, Lamar, he threw for over 300 yards. Derrick Henry, he powered the ground game with 132 rushing yards against the Commanders. Zay Flowers has emerged as a huge threat and a huge target for them. I mean, Baltimore has multiple options when it comes to passing, man. So the Bucs, I mean, they put up 51 points against the Saints in Week 6, but Baker Mayfield, he threw 3 picks that could have cost Tampa, but it could have cost Tampa the game. So he's been a little inconsistent recently, but I think Baker's gonna have to protect the ball against this Ravens defense, man. I mean, they have a high-powered attack, but it's just hard to see the Bucs outscoring them. And I think it's gonna be a good game, but I'm gonna go with Baltimore on this one. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Bucs win, obviously, but I just think they're clicking on all cylinders. They're just looking to put an end to hole that they fell in early in the season, and they've so far done that. So you got to give them a lot of credit. But yeah, give me Baltimore here to win over the Tampa Bay Bucs in a really good game. And last slate of Monday night and last slate of the NFL week, we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Arizona Cardinals. So we look at the Chargers, man. They're coming off a huge win over the Broncos, their division rival. Their defense had multiple turnovers. Justin Herbert, he didn't really have to do much, but he did have to generate the game, or manage the game, that is. But I mean, the Cardinals, they got absolutely smoked by the Packers in Week 6. I mean, Kyler Murray just could not move the ball. The offense just couldn't do anything. The defense couldn't stop Jordan Love. And now they're going to face a physical Chargers team that, they can control the line of scrimmage. But I think that Arizona can hopefully find a way to limit Herbert's effectiveness, because I do think Herbert's going to have to be on his A game if they pull away here. I think Kyler Murray can bounce back, and I think he will bounce back. So honestly, guys, this was a really tough one, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals to actually win. Kind of a win and out, go home team, and I think that Kyler Murray kind of due for a bounce back. Chargers, I'm not saying they're too fat and happy, but I do feel like, they're gonna have to do what they didn't do last week if they win this, if they want to win this game, man. So it's gonna be a tough one, but I'm gonna roll with Arizona here. These are two outstanding Monday night games, honestly, so I think that these could go either way. Especially this one. I mean, the Ravens Bucs, I could see it going either way, but I gotta go Baltimore. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with I'm gonna go with the Cardinals here to get the win over the Chargers. But these are some good games, man. So you can't deny these are tough games. But that's all I got, and I'm hoping for a better week. That's something that I really want. And obviously I only lost 2 games last week, so kind of want to get on a good roll the next couple weeks here. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you guys enjoy your day, and let's have another great week of football. I'm Ohio Game Talks checking out. You guys take care.